Intermittent and continuous IV order entry. This module will be reviewing on how to enter orders for intermittent IV piggybacks as well as continuous IV fluids, drips, and epidurals. Remember to close out the menu tab and collapse the orders view to minimize scrolling and for most efficient order entry. To begin, let's enter in 2 orders for intermittent IV piggybacks. Your attention should be drawn to anything in all caps as those items are intermittent or continuous IV fluids. Let's proceed by entering a secondary order for K-Writer. And now that we've selected our couple orders that we're placing, let's go ahead and review the order details, starting with the potassium chloride. Note here, the dose is pre-populated as well as infuse over and the frequency. The frequency can be changed at this point as desired, as well as the other order details. If this is needed stat, recall that your pharmacy priority will need to be changed from routine to stat on the details tab. If there's a desire to add any additional ingredients, this icon here is the Add Ingredient icon, which is available on the intermittent or continuous fluids. By clicking on the icon for intermittent IV piggybacks, you can either search for the desired additive or search under IVPB for any potential additive solutions. For instance, in this case, if we'd like to add lidocaine to the K-Writer, by clicking that, you'll note that the dose for the lidocaine piggyback defaults in. At this point, this order can be signed. However, we must review the order details for the previous order placed as well prior to signing. By clicking on levothyroxine, the order details for that order will populate. By reviewing the order details, again, you could change the order details as needed and add a duration as needed. Note the duration field should always be in singular tense. For instance, if you try to attempt to enter in 7 days, you'll get an invalid unit error. Simply type it in a singular form, and that will accept the duration. By signing the order, you'll be submitting both orders simultaneously. Note that both of the intermittent IV piggyback orders are populated under the medication category. Let's move on to continuous IV fluid order entry. When searching for IV fluid, you're presented with several different options. Let's enter in 2 orders, one being a banana bag with several different ingredient options, and 2, a premix IV fluid bag such as this with potassium. Notice when you're selecting a premix bag, you'll be presented with several different order sentence options. Again, for our most efficient order entry, never select the none option. Always select a order sentence that's closest to what you desire to order. In this case, let's go ahead and click done so we could address the 2 orders that we are placing. Starting with the premix product, note the rate and infuse over is defaulted in for you. However, if you desire to change the infuse over period, note that the rate will automatically calculate according to the bag volume. You also have the option to add an additive by clicking on the Add Additive icon. Here, for continuous additives, the difference is you would search under the ingredient desired, or you could search under additive to review all options. In this case, if we want to add a multivitamin ingredient, notice that your additive dose defaults in for you. That concludes our premix product that we are addressing. Now to change order details and review our banana bag, click on the above order to view those order details. Note here, several different additive ingredients are defaulted in. However, you have the option to remove any ingredients as desired by clicking on the X. Here, you do have a required rate field that you must populate. At this point in time, both orders have been addressed and can be reviewed for the last time before signing both orders. Now that we've reviewed on how to enter in continuous IV fluid orders, let's move on to IV drips. Let's enter in a few different orders so we get a better understanding on how to handle titratable drips and how to order specific parameters. After clicking the desired orders, click on Done so we could address each order detail. Starting with the levofed drip, notice that the rate field for titratable drips will default to as a generic free text rate of titrate. Note that the specific rate details of titration are actually captured by nursing documentation in interactive view under the IV drip segment and not during order entry. However, specific parameters for titrating can be ordered by adding to the defaulted rate of titrate. Notice that a caution alert will fire stating that you've entered in free text rate. Do you want to keep the new rate? And that will always be the case for these titratable drips. If you find you have further instructions, such as what rate to initiate the drip at, you could enter in that information under order comments. This information will also be viewable on the EMR, as well as the information typed in the free text rate field. Now let's go to the heparin drip and address those order details. Here, if you note, the order comments are seen here, dosing weight, pharmacy to provide, or if you click on order comments, they're seen there as well. Upon signing these orders and pharmacy reviewing the heparin order that you've placed, upon verification, they will go ahead and enter in the appropriate dosing weight. Once that order is verified, that dosing weight will appear on the MAR for the nurse. Note that both our continuous fluids and our continuous drips will all populate within the IV solution section. Also note here, after verification, the dosing weight appears on the Orders tab for the heparin as well as on the EMR. When nursing is looking to titrate the heparin drip based on PTT results, they could access the information of titrating parameters by right-clicking on the order for the heparin on the Orders tab and selecting Reference Information. The reference information will give them parameters on what rate to titrate the heparin drip. Again, the actual titratable rate will be documented through interactive view in the IV drip segment. The last continuous drip that we'll review are the neuroaxial drips, often referred to as epidurals or interspinals. Upon selecting one of these products, you'll notice the only required field for order details are the continuous rate as far as the neuroaxial details are concerned. Although you have other options to add, such as a loading dose, a demand dose, a lockout interval, and again, as a reminder, there's a change in priority that would need to be changed to stat. Note, if any of the order details need to be changed for IV solutions, that order must be canceled and reordered, similar to that of medication orders. For instance, if this fluid needs a change of rate from 80 to 120 mLs an hour, cancel and reorder, and change the rate as needed. At the same time, if the levofed drip needs a change in parameters from titrate to SBP of greater than 100 to greater than 80, cancel and reorder will give you the opportunity to change any order details. Once your order details are changed, click on Orders for Signature and sign. After refreshing, you could see the change in order details the titrate SBP greater than 80, as well as your new rate of 120 mLs an hour. That concludes our session on order entry for IV intermittent fluids and continuous fluids.